Hello everyone, thank you for joining me for today's episode of the Liferegenerator show. I'm here with my grandfather, David, and I've been wanting to make this video for a while, and he's going to be just as surprised as anybody about the reason why I'm making this video. Is that about 20 years ago you said something that changed my life forever.
I'm glad of that.
You don't remember what it was?
Not really, no.
Well, you were the first person in my life that I remember who ever told me, you said, Danny, you're real smart. You can do anything you want to do. Okay? You told me that. I was around 16 years old. And I remember my jaw just hitting the floor because I've never heard anything like that before from anybody. No teacher, no parent.
The truth.
Well,
the truth, in my opinion.
And that stuck with me in the back of my mind. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I've been able to have success in my life today.
I'm happy for you.
It just goes to show that it only takes one person to believe in you.
Well, I'm glad for you, because if it helps you in any way, it's well worth it. And if what I said happened to be 100% true. I always thought you had a brain and that you could do whatever you wanted to do if you really applied yourself to it. And you have. And I'm so proud of you. And I'm proud of your friend.
Thank you.
Sophia,
Sophia.
my angel face. That's her nickname.
For any help you've given to him, and I know you have.
Thank you.
So it's I'm just so happy. It pleases me to remember things. I was talking to Stephen the other day, and I mentioned a few things to him because he wasn't thinking of getting married or anything, and he told me a couple of things. I said, well, you know, when you find the right girl, it's going to change your mind. Because he said that he didn't think he could ever have a baby, and I said, when you have your first baby and that little boy or girl smiles at you, you're her dad. And always remember that. I told your brother just a few days ago.
Wow.
And
cool.
I think he really, in fact, I wasn't sure because I couldn't hear too well on the cell phone that it was you. Or it could have been him. You know?
It was him, because it wasn't me. I would have remembered.
Okay.
So it must have been Steve, who's my brother, which I'm surprised that he's actually in contact with you guys.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't keep in contact as well as.
Well, we actually called him to take us. We needed help to get to the airport.
He's a nice man.
We couldn't get all our stuff in Teresa's car.
Oh.
And he couldn't have stepped up to get in Matt's truck, so we had to have two cars. So we got Stephen, and Stephen only lives about not too far from the airport. He only lives about a mile from where he works.
Yeah. That's my grandma, by the way, everybody.
Hi, Grandma.
She's a firecracker.
We've
She
been married
is.
45 years now.
Married 45 years? Amazing.
Oh.
Beautiful.
And I raised the boys just like mine.
Yeah.
Chuck and all the rest of the boys.
Well, that's what's the interesting part of the story, is that you're not my real grandpa,
That's true.
but you were the first person. I had teachers all through school. I had parents. I was surrounded by religious organizations, but nobody ever told me anything like that. And that's why when I have this YouTube channel, that I try to be like that, like you were to me, to anyone who might be watching these videos. You can do it with patience and perseverance and application.
You told me one time you wanted to come live with me.
When was that, Grandma?
Well, when we were at Donna's, remember you and Melody were having an argument? And you took off and went for a walk?
Yeah, that was recently. That was the time.
About 5 years ago.
Oh, it was Probably more than that, but yeah, I was having a rough time at that time.
And so I kind of walked, I kept walking down. I knew you'd turn around pretty soon and come back, and you did. And we talked all the way back. And you got back to your mom and you says, I want to go live with Grandma. She says the right things.
Dan, you've more than surpassed my expectations for you.
Oh.
And I'm so happy and so proud of you. It's nice to have somebody remember some little thing that maybe I said would be of help. And apparently it was in your case, and I'm so glad of that.
Well, I'll tell you something that I think is absolutely the rarest thing I've ever known is that my daughter had 4 sons. I mean sons. Daughters would be different, but sons, and not one of them smoked.
Ain't that good? A lot of us, we're moving on out of Matt is getting sober, Steve's getting sober. I'm 100% sober. Richie's sober.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, Grandpa, for these people that are watching, that have any kind of appreciation for the work that I've done here, they can thank you for that day, because
it's you that did it, and the only thing they can thank me for is that I said the right things to you at the right time.
That's right.
And that makes me feel so good, because I yap a lot, and sometimes I say things that aren't too cool, but just like anybody else. But once in a while I get something on my mind and I have to say it. And I can remember you guys all up to the Mount Rainier in that campground. And Steve remembers this too, because he was chasing around some girls, and I don't know where you were at the time, but we were worried to death because we had a little campground and you guys disappeared all of a sudden, but by morning you were all back. And so
probably with the girls, man.
Yeah, that's probably what happened.
Oops.
But he still remembers that too.
Oh man.
And I can remember back to the first grade, things that happened on a little girl. She wet her pants by mistake playing jacks in the first grade. And why I remember this, I don't know. But all the kids except me hooted and hollered at her. And I felt so bad for that little girl there, because it's just the way I am. I don't like things like that to happen. And I remember that ever since. And I've often wondered whatever happened to that little girl. She's probably a wonderful mother by now sometime, because in the first grade, I'll be 88 years old in October. So
It was 83 years ago or something.
yeah. But I can still remember that.
I don't know, Grandma. Just one of Grandpa's, one of his favorite stories that you tell me is the one about the, when you were on the train with all your friends and the smoke was coming into
Oh yeah, I was in a troop train going down to Louisiana from Fort Lewis. And they just got, I think about 8 or 9 privates, and appointed one guy, you're in charge of this group. And we were in there 5 days and 5 nights going to Louisiana. And they had me in one of the upper berths, and this is an old coal train. And in the morning I looked and I thought I was in the Black Brigade, because all their faces were black, you know, from the smoke that somebody had left the windows open. And I was fine because I was way up above, you know.
At the top.
At the top, yeah. So, but it looked like that was a nasty place. But that was a surprise to me.
Anyway, that's one of the ones I've heard a few times, but I'm sure there's
Well,
many,
when am I
many
going to
more.
get invited to you guys' wedding?
Oh Lordy.
I don't know.
Grandma, that puts us on the spot here.
Everything
Not
happens
really.
in the right timing.
Huh?
Everything happens in the right timing.
That's
Yep,
right.
that's
Well-
why I say when.
We are honestly just developing ourselves as best as we can. You know, right now we're really trying to grow um, grow closer to Jehovah, and so that we're more purified. So if we ever do decide to have children or something, that we are more stronger, better, financially stable, and more, like we both had a lot of challenges in our life. So we're trying to heal ourselves from that and make reconciliations with, like,
That's your
Well, I've
The
had
stuff.
to heal myself too.
well, that's what this
Mhm.
life is about. So we're just focusing on that right now,
Beating
helping each
husband.
other.
That just proves what I've said about you.
That's a
being
lot of
smart.
healing there.
Grandpa Paul was
Huh?
abusive. Yeah.
He didn't beat me, he just knocked me around. He'd slap me and he never hit me in the face.
We have our ups and downs, just like any other couple, but we're not fisticuffs at one another.
You never did any of that.
No.
Good.
And
It's always like that with your significant other. That's the person you learn the most from about patience.
I've learned a lot from her, and she might have learned a few things from me.
Mhm.
And we generally, what happens, it makes me feel better.
There's nobody there. I get more of these calls.
But Dan, I'm very proud of you, and thank you so much.
Hello?
Well, Grandpa, the truth is, I feel like I'm just getting started.
Well, I think so too.
The potential is infinite.
I think
Hello?
you are too, because you got a brain in your head and you're using it.
Mhm.
That's important. And I think
Pardon?
you've got a good partner right there.
I do.
So,
Thank
we
you.
have our challenges too,
Of
but
course you
I
do.
learned so much from her, and just she's so important to me that
well,
I'm
that's-
willing to just do whatever it takes.
it takes,
No.
it's just like Warren and I. When I married her, of course, she had lost Danny, on the
Yeah.
drowning. And the first thing I said to her on the phone, I was in Ohio on a job. I just got there that day, and I told her, for God's sakes, please don't blame Kenny. He loved that little boy. That's what I told her over the phone.
My uncle Danny drowned. Yeah.
Hmm.
And
And she blamed herself because of allowing Kenny to take her, and she always was at the lake or whatever little Danny went with any of the boys, and they all loved him. Just a little guy, and then we lost another
Billy.
Billy.
Yeah, my cousin.
He was hit. There was 3 boys killed in Auburn, and by a drunk. And the only thing, we were at the trial every day, and she never once turned around and apologized to us. And her family was taking the brunt of nasty words to him, and I stood up at the meeting and I told him, I said, please don't blame the family. The family didn't do this. She was drunk and on drugs, and I've never taken drugs in my life. I never intend to. And if there's one good thing about me, I think that's one thing you could say about me.